What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. We are getting ready to do another Q&A video. Now, as I always mention in all of these intros here, if you want to get involved in this Q&A, you got to go over to the Facebook page, Remington James, and look for my Q&A post. I make one about once a week, and I get on here and I answer your questions, chosen at random, right off my smartphone, live. Well, not really live, you get what I'm saying though, because I have to go and edit it and all that, but anyways, guys, be sure to do that this time if you really want to get involved, because I'm going to be doing extra Q&As because I have vacation coming up, so I want to make sure I get as many of these filmed as I possibly can, so your chance of getting your question answered this time around is way higher than normal. You got like a 37.9% more chance, statistically speaking, so be sure to go over there if you want to get involved in this. But anyways, enough talk, let's get down to answering some questions. Are you guys ready? Let's do it! Okay guys, question number one is from Holly Ryan, and she asks, how often should you adjust your macros? I'm trying to lose fat and tone up, but don't like weighing myself because I get obsessive. Okay, so the macro question I tend to get decently often, right? So here's my take on the situation. If you get a set of macros, so for instance, when I make a meal plan for a client, basically if you just do a one-time meal plan, I kind of give you your meal plan and those macros are constant, right? For as long as you see results, there is zero reason to change your nutrition up. I've seen way too many people want to kind of bottom out like week to week. They just keep dropping their macros. That is the easiest way to damage your metabolism and ultimately hit a plateau where your fat loss stalls and then you're stuck. Like I mentioned in a couple Q&As ago, where you reach a point, you quit losing fat and then you have to like diet back up and then diet back down. It's kind of a hassle. So in my opinion, as long as you are seeing results and week to week you are losing weight, there is no need to change your macros. And usually what I'll do if I'm working with a client on like a 12-week program is every 4 weeks we readjust macros. But if I see that that client is making amazing progress, then there's no need to really go too crazy with switching things up. And the whole being obsessive or weighing yourself thing, what I recommend is don't weigh yourself every single day because weight fluctuations occur too often, especially in females, because you guys have that dreaded time of the month where your estrogen levels go up and down. And even when it's not that time, you are still having water retention and other issues just because of estrogen and you guys being estrogen dominant. What I recommend is just once a week, find that time, weigh yourself first thing in the morning. Use that as your overall gauge, right? But if you happen to have 1 week where you go up a little bit, but you know you've been on your meal plan 100%, there's probably another issue at play. So don't let that number on the scale really dictate your mood or how you feel or if you think you're making progress. What you really want to look at overall is how you look in the mirror and how you feel. Those are the two biggest gauges, guys. Hopefully that answered your question, Holly. Awesome question, guys. Starting this Q&A off on the right foot. Next question from Samantha Chavez. She asks, hi Remington, how do you break down your body part workouts throughout the week, or do you just go with what you feel like working out the day of? Okay, I don't necessarily have a standard split in place where I say like Monday I do this no matter what, Tuesday I do this no matter what, Wednesday we do this. What I do is I kind of go off of how I feel a little bit mixed with how recently I've worked that body part. So what I mean by that is if I'm feeling great, guys, and my sleep's optimal and my nutrition's on point, I can kind of work out for a week straight and not really need a rest day. But if my sleep starts lacking and I start really getting behind on my work and I just tend to be a little more stressed out, then I can really tell my body gets fatigued easier and I need a rest day sooner. So in regards to those days, my rest days are always changing depending on how I'm feeling and what I got going on. So basically I just keep like a mental track in my head. I go, okay, I worked out chest 2 days ago, I worked out back the day after, so today we're gonna hit legs. And then tomorrow, since on my chest and my back day I do biceps and triceps, tomorrow's gonna be arm day, then we're gonna hit a shoulder day, and then that's 5 days in a row. And then the next day it's like, okay, do I rest or how am I feeling? I might go ahead and start over again with chest and triceps and then back and biceps. I don't just go in and work out what I feel like working, or else I would just do chest and shoulders all the time. I wouldn't do anything else. I'd never work out legs. So there's obviously a method to my madness, but I'm not really stressing about it saying like Monday I have to do this, you know, because you never know. I could have Ankram hit me up, Nate could hit me up, Luke could hit me up, and I might need to go lift with them, and it might be something where like they need to hit arms and I want to hit this, but I'll hit arms just so we can work out together. Then I got to readjust the rest of my schedule. And like I always talk about, if you're super regimented, that tends to cause burnout a little faster and cause you to fall off your program, as opposed to being more flexible with it, guys. Understanding that like, so what if you happen to miss one day that week and you know you didn't hit legs that week? Oh, that's the easiest one to to not hit, it's not the end of the world, guys, you know? And if you gotta switch some things around, it's basically what I recommend is if a muscle's sore, don't train it, but make sure you're also still training everything adequately throughout the course of a week. Your body, you don't want to be that person with the big biceps, but doesn't have a back, doesn't have a chest. You want to make sure you're working every part of your body efficiently and effectively. That's basically how I do it, and seems to work just fine. Thank you so much, Samantha, for your question. Next question from Nicole Beck. She asks, if you could come up with the most perfect meal for you, what would it be? Mine would definitely involve some wings and Halo Top. Thank you in advance. Okay, wings and Halo Top, man, that sounds about like mine. If I had to find the perfect meal, now, I guess if we're talking perfect meal overall, we're not talking perfect cheat meal, because obviously cheat meals, there's a million different options, and I always say my perfect cheat meal would be chicken and waffles from Cherry Street Pub, and they have this like brownie ice cream dessert thing afterwards, and it's one of just my absolute favorite things to have, guys, and I don't go there and eat it too often just because it's so detrimental to my diet, but that's my favorite cheat meal. But my perfect meal, guys, you guys have seen 100 times on my channel. What I love to do is go get a ton of grilled chicken from either Roosters or Shades, and I'll get some garlic sauce on the side, I'll get some garlic barbecue on the side, I'll get extra blue cheese. I'll do that, and then I'll get a big half-pound burger with blue cheese and bacon on it, no bun. Basically what I do, it's a lot of fat, but it's mainly just fat and protein, very minimal carbohydrates. I kind of sit there and just like gorge myself with that, and it doesn't seem to affect my progress too much. Obviously, it's not the same as weighing and tracking my macros, but to me, it tastes amazing. I'm hitting my protein macros. I get the juiciness of the burger, the bacon, the blue cheese, and I'm dipping in blue cheese. It's one of my guilty pleasures and one of my most favorite meals. And every single time almost that I leave after having that meal, I've been having that meal way too often lately, by the way. Ankrum needs to quit calling me and inviting me to Roosters. But after I have that, I always go to Kroger and I'll buy 2 Halo Tops, 2 different flavors, and I'll eat both of those, usually laying in bed, watching some TV and winding down. That has been my guilty pleasure lately. And I have to say, like, you think about the perfect meal, like that for me is so perfect, because when I have a bunch of carbs and grease and a cheat meal, I feel like crap the next day. I wake up bloated and I just feel terrible. But when I focus on the proteins and I focus on fats and I leave those carbs off to the side, I feel so much better the next day. Don't even really feel like I cheated. So that to me is the perfect meal. And if I had to pick a close second, it's sushi. I love sushi, but then again, we're dabbling in carbs a little bit, not too bad. You know, for sushi, it takes a lot of sushi to fill me up. Shout out to my sushi challenge. If you haven't seen my sushi eating challenge, I ate 19 rolls, 114 pieces in one sitting. Yeah, watch that video if you haven't. But yeah, perfect meal has to be the chicken, burger, bacon, blue cheese, extra blue cheese, and garlic sauce. So good, so good. Thank you, Nicole. And by the way, quick shout out to Nicole. She is on my 12-week program right now, and she has made crazy gains. You should see this girl. She is absolutely killing it. I see a physique contest coming in her near future. For real, she is absolutely incredible. Thanks for your question, and thanks for being such a dedicated hard worker. You are the true definition of what can be achieved when you put your mind to something and you execute on it daily. Thank you. Okay, we have from Tim Rue. He asks, if you could choose only one exercise to do for the rest of your life, what would you pick and why? Keep up the great videos, bro. Okay, one exercise to do for the rest of my life. Man, if I could only do one. So, okay, let's break this down. If you're asking me if I had to choose one exercise and couldn't do any more for the rest of my life, what would I pick? Man, that's a tough one. I would have to say bench press, because when you perform a bench press, right, you're able to go down, you go up, you're working mainly your pectorals, but you're getting a little bit of delt action in there, getting a little bit of tricep action, and then if we're cheating a little bit, right, if I'm allowed to bench press, then that means I can incline press, so we're hitting the top of the pec as well, getting a nice movement in there, still hitting the triceps. I can go narrow grip, really focus on my triceps, still getting a little bit of that shoulder action in there too. So I feel like that would be the best bang for my buck as far as like keeping my chest big, keeping my shoulders decently developed, and then really working my triceps, because as some of you guys know, if you watch my videos, I'm not really bicep dominant. I'm very tricep dominant. My biceps get overshadowed by my triceps because my triceps are so big. So I like to keep it that way. It makes my whole arm look really big. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the recent picture where I out-angled Ankrum on Facebook when we donated blood, but the reason I can look so big in some of these photos when I turn to the side and flex the right way is because my triceps are so massive. It's definitely my strong suit. So I would have to say bench press, because chest is something I love working. I love that pump. I feel like that would be the best overall choice if I had to choose one. Obviously, I like almost every exercise, but if I had to choose one, it'd definitely be bench press and all variations therein. Thanks for your question, man. Okay, guys, Adam Nordman asks this question. He says, what was the moment in your life where you said, this is enough, something has to change, and can you elaborate on how fitness was that outlet? Okay, I think I've touched on this a little bit before, but for new subscribers, I always feel like it's beneficial to touch on kind of where I've came from. I went through a really rough time with a video game addiction, right? I was in a relationship for like 5 years or something like that. I had a video game addiction to an MMORPG. So if you're not familiar with that, it's like, think World of Warcraft, right? The specific game I was addicted to was Star Wars: The Old Republic. And I played this game literally every single day, nonstop. This game dominated my life. And I know it sounds goofy to think about a video game addiction like that, but this game completely and utterly dominated every thought, every minute of my time. If I was at work, I would take my laptop with me and hide and check in on my characters. I would be on the computers trying to check out new builds and new strategies and how to defeat this boss and stuff like that. I had a guild that I was the guild master of, Crimson Legion. Holy crap, that brings back memories. We had a website, we had meetings, we had all this stuff, and it just became like my real life. And I was so unhappy with how I looked and how I felt and how out of shape I'd gotten that I literally disconnected from the real world and like connected into this fake virtual world where I could be a cyber awesome dude and not really focus on like me, right? And I remember it was the same story every day. It was like, get off work, on the way home, stop and get a pizza, get like a sub, and I would just eat bad food, drink pop, and all I did was sit and play this game. There's a picture, if I find it, there's a picture I'll have to post sometime to a social media that I still have if I can find it. But it was literally the little desk I sat at, and it was covered in Funyun bags, huge 32, 40 ounce things of gas station, like fillable fountain pop containers, just fast food bags, and it was terrible. And all I did was sit there and eat. And I remember that got out of control. And my girlfriend at the time, God love her, she put up with me forever doing this and stuck by my side until the end. I did this for so long that like me and her relationship diminished really badly, and we literally got to a point where we barely talked anymore. It just got really bad. She finally reached out to me one day and said she was leaving, and we had, a breakup, and she moved out, and I literally had nothing left but this game, right? And it's one of those things I don't think you appreciate what you truly have until it's gone, and there's nothing you can do to get it back. And she left. I remember sitting there and I'm like, okay, whatever, now I have more time to play this game. And I sat there playing it, and for some reason, I just couldn't get into it anymore. It was like, I was sitting there, I'm like, man, what am I really doing with my time? What is this doing for me? I got this online character with all this money and all these accolades and stuff and all these internet friends, but like, what is this doing for me? What am I accomplishing? All this energy I'm putting into this, like, what kind of benefit am I getting out of that? I just couldn't bring myself to play anymore. And I remember like right after she left, I got really sick. I came down with a really bad sickness. It was like the flu, but I had a really bad headache, and I don't really get sick, and it just hit me out of nowhere. I literally like slept for what felt like days. When I finally woke up from this sickness and tried getting back into the game, I was just decided that like I was done, and I needed to find real life friends that I could hang out with. All my friends I hadn't talked to in years, and like it just seems like I'd fell off the map completely. My health had gotten really bad, and not that I was extremely overweight, but I was extremely skinny fat. I think I weighed at the time like 210 or 215 pounds, and I was really chubby, no muscle. Put it in perspective, right now I weigh like 195. Really just let my health get away from me. I remember it was February 1st when I first stepped back in the gym. My brother hit me up and he said, hey, I have a membership at Jacked Fitness, and that's the place you see me lift at all the time. I remember going in there, and my little brother was always my little brother. I was always stronger than him, always able to bench press more, and all of that, just the big brother stuff. And we go in there, and I was floored when we sat down, and I could barely bench 135, and he's over there repping it, making me look like a weakling. And I remember he even commented on it, God bless him, he even commented on me saying that couldn't believe how much smaller I'd gotten. And I didn't even realize it, but sitting there for almost 2 years, eating bad, not training, and doing nothing but going to work, drinking pop, and eating bad had caused my muscles to atrophy so bad. So I was literally like skin and bone, had no muscle on me, and I'm in there and I'm seeing all these guys, and I was like, you know what, I just can't be like this anymore. I cannot live my life like this. Like, I try to put myself on this higher pedestal, and I like to think that I'm a man, but yeah, I'm in here and I got my brother beating me, and there's girls in here lifting more than me, and I just literally look like a stick figure now, a stick figure with a big old belly. I just told myself at that point that enough was enough, and I decided, it was like a switch went off in my head. And I seen all these guys, it's kind of when fitness kind of first started blowing up, and I seen all these guys that had been competing and lifting and stuff, and I'm seeing these just shredded dudes, and I'm like, I am going to look like that. No matter what it takes, I'm going to look like that. That's when it started, and I remember it only took me like a month, and muscle memory is one heck of a thing, guys, and newbie gains are one heck of a thing. If you're brand new to dieting, and you're brand new to fitness, and you're brand new to working out, those gains you get in that first month to 3 months, if your diet's on point, are insane. People will question if you're taking anything or not because of how quickly you can grow. Your body is in an extremely anabolic environment the first time you introduce higher protein and resistance training to it, especially if you've been dormant for a long time, and especially so if you used to be an athlete and stopped. Like I used to lift weights in high school, did some in college and stuff, so I had muscle memory there, and I lost it all. But I remember I just, boom, it was like in a month, I don't want to say I blew up, but I was noticeably, you could tell if someone seen me, I looked like I lifted. From that point on, I was absolutely addicted, and with that came the confidence, with that came, meeting whole new friends, with that came going out and actually getting attention from girls. And that's basically how I fell in love with fitness, was because I went from a point in my life where I was so unhappy and so just like lost and didn't know where to go and had no North Star to like aim for. Fitness became not only that endorphin rush you get when you lift, it became like that like new addiction for me, right? I'm the type of guy, I have a very addictive personality. And when I get into something, I get into it with 100% of me. And that's, I think, what explained part of this. This is gonna be video, I'm not sure what number of video this is. As of recording this video right now, we're on 106 videos in 106 days. I think part of that plays into why I'm able to do that, because I am so addicted to something when I started. And fitness kind of became my new addiction, right? I talk about having alcohol issues in the past. I talk about the video game addiction. Like those were all addictions that I dealt with. And finding fitness in I think of it as like the Indiana Jones movie when they're in that tunnel and there's like that thing on that rock and he slides the other thing in place of it to take his place, right? That's kind of like how I view this transition, taking fitness and replacing, boom, that addiction with this one. And since I started fitness, I have never looked back. And I don't even want to think about what my life would be like without having the gym in it. I just can't even fathom where I'd be at right now if I wouldn't have found fitness as an outlet and fitness as my ultimate form of stress relief and fitness as like my therapist. So many people pay hundreds, thousands of dollars to go talk to somebody about their problems, when I think one of the most beneficial ways you can clear this out is to put some music on, go into the gym, unplug from everything and just pump some iron and really feel a one-to-one connection with your body. To me, there is no better form of relaxation, mental clarity, or anything else that comes along with that. So I think I kind of rambled there for a second, man. I apologize. Basically, to sum it up, the moment in my life where I said, enough, something has to change, was when my girlfriend of 5 years left me, and I was left with absolutely nothing but a video game. And I decided that I needed to turn everything around. That was the point from which fitness became my outlet. So awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, guys, thank you everybody for your questions. That is gonna wrap up this Q&A, and look forward to more Q&A videos launching. So I'm gonna go ahead and record a bunch of them in advance, answering as many questions as I possibly can. I appreciate you guys so much. You don't even realize it, for the questions and all the participation. We had over 100 questions this time around. So be sure to go to the Facebook post, because I'm gonna be making these. If you see this will be the first one. I'm gonna be filming more of them. So go to the Facebook post and comment your question for a chance for it to be answered and a shout out. Thank you guys, as always, for your support. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. And as always, don't forget to smile, remain positive, and pay someone a compliment, because you never know whose day you could be making better. With that, I am out of here. This has been a Remington James production, and I will see you guys at the next video. See you guys.